Well, here we are.
Here it is again.
Here it is again. Another week, another rom-com.
Another interestingly timed group of rom-com films.
Yes, because the world is such a happy place right now.
Yeah. I mean, we're pulling for the idea that, in dark times you need a little brightness, a little entertainment, a song, a dance, anything to cheer you up. I mean, that's what I'm looking at this at. We didn't start this thing thinking that would be the purpose, but now maybe that is.
No, and in a little while, after we get through the preliminaries, we'll discuss whether this movie succeeds at all in brightening.
Oh, we will.
Our world.
We will. We'll get to the bottom of that.
We will. But before that, something.
Did I say bottom? I'm sorry.
Yeah, something that did brighten my world this week. My daughter, your niece, got into Elon College.
Is that really true? Fantastic. Yep. Oh, wow. That's great. That is great news. Congratulations.
Accepted into the college and into the dance program. So
fantastic.
We're very happy.
Is this her first choice, top three choice? What?
It's in the top 2.
Oh, well, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So she's there. She's waiting to hear on one more school.
Okay.
And then a decision will be made at some point.
Well, that's really exciting.
Yeah. And other news, one of our cast members has a birthday coming up. That's very exciting.
One of our cast members.
One of our cast members has a birthday.
Of the show, the Arkin brothers.
The Arkin of this show.
Yeah. Will that fall on the show day, or is that before?
No, it's before. It's before the next show. But our mom, hi mom.
Mom, what's happening?
She's watching. She's got to be watching.
Of course, I'm sure she's watching.
She got me the most spectacular book for my birthday that you might want to pick up a copy of this book. It's the Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails. And it's basically an encyclopedia. It's not a book with chapters and topics like that you would say. It's sort of like Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
It's the Grey's Anatomy of booze.
And it's also paranormal.
Yeah.
Hence my interest.
Booze and paranormal.
Yes.
Yeah.
The drinking man's.
It is about spirits. So,
That's fantastic.
Wow, that was a long pause. I'll have to edit that out.
No, yes, that was where my joke started, and I. So yes, that's why I said paranormal,
spirits and cocktails, ghosts.
Yes,
yeah, ghosts and booze.
Yeah. Okay. Ghosts and booze.
Okay. So I'm the one actually who's slow because I didn't.
Well, I didn't say that. I'm just that's what the pause was about. I didn't quite know how to feel. Hey, there she is. We knew she would be watching.
She's proving it. She's proving to us.
Happy birthday early. All right. Well, we'll do a birthday show next week. We didn't prepare for that. I know when your birthday is. I just don't know when days or what. So
I don't know when days are either. So what's going on with you this week? Any news?
Well, Amelia's show opened, which is really big news. I don't think we had a show since. I think our show was right before she opened.
Yeah,
our last show. So her play Coal Country is now been revived because it was in lockdown.
Something happened.
They opened a week before the lockdown, and then had to close up after great reviews and a lot of enthusiasm. So they remounted the show, and it opened on last Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, and it was great. The opening was great. She's having a great time, and so if you're in New York and want to see a show, this is a nice one to see. It's called Coal Country. It's at the Cherry Lane Theater in New York, and it's running for the next 5 weeks, at least with a possible extension. Anyway,
Mom wants to know if I saw her birthday greeting. Yeah, I flashed it up on the screen before.
We did see that.
Birthday.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Yeah,
can see that. We can see it, but we can
I'm
see it.
flashing it up there. Yeah.
Um,
I'm going to keep flashing it during the show so that all of our viewers know that it's my birthday and send me presents.
well, that's why we're doing your birthday show after your birthday, so people get a chance to catch up to it.
To feel guilty and
Yeah.
not, yeah.
Well,
that's very exciting about the show.
It is exciting. It's very cool. And it's
But
a really
it
good
means that
show.
you're alone and lonely at night.
I've spent a lot of time alone this month because, you know, she was in rehearsals and in tech for a long time. And now she's in a show. And now I don't really have anywhere to go or anything to do.
And she'll be going out every night after the show, being feted by the glitterati of New York.
Of course. I'll be left behind. Just another stage door, Johnny.
That's you. Did you get to watch anything good this past week?
Not particularly. No.
Wow. Okay. Ooh, that's ominous, and we haven't even started getting into it yet.
Not particularly.
Yeah, I watched a lot of stuff this week.
Did you?
Yeah. I watched one of my guilty pleasures, Equalizer 2.
Okay. Is there a Shetland pony in that?
There's no
Are there sweaters? What's happening?
No, there's no sweaters.
No?
Equalizer 2.
Who are you, Matthew? I never know week to week.
It's very confusing. But Equalizer 2 is part of a genre that is one of my favorite genres in the world. It's a genre called "Don't You Get Denzel Mad."
Hey, he did great in these movies.
He's so good when he's like, no, just everything's fine. Okay, now you cross the line.
What's great about when he started doing those movies is that wasn't something I thought was in his thing. He seems to be so much more thoughtful than that. And when he I forget, was it The Equalizer was the first time where he did like the don't mess with Denzel Washington stuff?
No,
You're like,
I think it might have been Man on Fire.
Was that before Equalizer?
I think so.
I'm getting my dates wrong because that Man on Fire blew my. That was definitely when I did take notice. Like, no, bad idea.
He is exceptional at that.
You know what's interesting is that we were going to cover the original Man on Fire movie.
Oh, right. We were going to do a double bill. And we got to do that.
Yeah, I ended up seeing that movie and getting all into it, and then we didn't do it. I forget why we didn't do it.
Because we're lazy and, you know.
Well, I saw it. I don't think I'm lazy. I saw the movie.
All right. Well,
I have notes.
Let's put it on the schedule.
I could just send you my notes and you can do the show for the two of us.
Okay. I also watched a movie, again, guilty pleasure, bad movies, or, you know, fun movies, The Protege, with Samuel L. Jackson and not Susie Q, but somebody Q. Her last name is just Q.
Mm-hmm.
About a female assassin who is Samuel L. Jackson's protege. That was fun. I also watched a Netflix series called Pieces of Her with Toni Collette. And
I hear good things about that show. I want to see that.
It's interesting because it crosses genres. It's got a lot of stuff going on. It's a little bit of a family drama, and it's a little bit of a history of violence, all sort of mashed together in an interesting way.
Well, that sounds good. I want to see that.
And then tonight is going to be a very exciting night because I have a friend coming over, and we're going to start watching The Outer Limits, which I haven't seen since it was on, and I was a little.
Really? So you're going to like the original, because I think there was a remake of that.
Yeah, no, we're going to go to the original series and start watching it.
I don't think it'll disappoint you. I think it's really fun.
No, and it's one of those shows where I looked at the cast list for the entire series, and it's sort of like going back to some of those, Twilight Zone, where everybody in the world was on those shows.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone. That's where they all got anybody that went into film. It was like right from the actor studio right into the TV shows like that.
Yeah.
And then on. I mean, who do you remember who some of the stars in the first episodes are? It's probably like Martin Landau and Robert Redford and
well, I know Redford was not on this, but he was on Twilight Zone.
He was in Twilight Zone, yeah.
David McCallum was on, I believe, and I don't know if we'll get to this tonight, but season 1, episode 5, I think it was. And I'm looking forward to seeing that again because he was on an episode that terrified me so much, and it has still stuck with me to this day. There are images in it, and I think I saw it when I was 6 years old, and there are images in it that still haunt me.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to diving.
That's going to be fun. I wish I could join you guys for that. That would be great.
And I have the Oxford Companion to Spirits and Cocktails, so I'm a happy guy.
You ready to get drunk and go ghost hunting?
Yes, it's the best way to go ghost hunting. But you know, and I could keep talking about other things.
I could skirt the issue for a while. I mean, I could keep
in order to avoid what's coming.
I could dance around this for a while. But
Tom Brady retired.
Not retired.
And now he's coming back.
Yep. I called it too.
You did? You said he wasn't going to retire?
I was actually, Maddie Blake, co-host of my other podcast, Rated P for Paranormal, is a football fan and a big Brady fan. And he was very upset the day that he announced he was retiring. And I said, don't cry. He's not retiring.
He's not retiring.
And he was like, he is. It's done. This is a big moment. This is a big day. Right. It's like, okay, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
And it's not happening. So,
well, this is interesting because this is a sign of how incredibly desperate you and I are to not talk about tonight's movie.
Because we're talking about football instead.
Talking about football.
Yeah.
This
has never happened in the world.
No. We are brothers. You're in your 50s, I'm in my 60s, and we have never talked about football.
You have never thrown a football to me?
No.
If you did, I would let it hit me in the chest, and I'd be like, what are you doing that for?
What are you doing?
Man?
Why are you bothering?
Why are you throwing things at me?
Yeah, so that's how bad things are. But we might only be able to avoid it for so long.
I'm going to break the ice. I'm going to do it.
Okay.
As some of you may know, we are discussing the 1959 film Pillow Talk, directed by Flynn Franzen, and some other people did some stuff on it. Stars Doris Day and Rock Hudson. And for those of you who were born in the last 70 years, those are stars that mean nothing to you really now and won't ever. They're not going to be relevant to you again. Although, I don't want to be mean. I'm just confused and a little bit shocked. I just came out of this too. I just finished watching this a half an hour ago.
Oh, really? It's not going to improve
with age. You've had a little time on this
over the weekend, and I haven't been. There was some stuff in that actually, on second thought, no, that's not happening.
This is a catastrophe of its epic proportions.
Yeah,
and it's triply sad because I didn't mean to make fun of the makers of the movie. It's actually fairly well made. Like it's competently made. They put money into it. It's a good cast of ancillary characters.
The shots were in focus.
It's well lit. It's well cut. It's smart with a lot of split screen photography, which is probably the most notable thing about it. Is
like they just discovered it. It's like, oh my God, we just discovered this thing. Let's do it a lot and wow the hell out of everybody.
I don't think it had really been used quite this way before. Maybe, I think it's an early example of it being used in a really this kind of pop way with people talking to each other on the phone kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe it was early, but
and there's the bathtub scene that we'll get to,
which is a split screen. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. That's well known. But boy, man, I mean, I'm not even. I mean, as I've said on the show, I can take it. I'm terribly sensitive. I'm, but this was just like, are you kidding me? This is like a manual for horrible male behavior, just the worst male behavior you could imagine.
Oh yeah,
I
and
mean, not and
talk about a movie that does not age well.
well, that's what I'm saying. I, I hazard to guess that it didn't go down well with some people then, because it is extremely what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. It's
Well, the fact that it was such a hit, right, says a lot about America in 1959, or some of America, and why what happened shortly thereafter happened.
which catastrophic situation are you talking about?
Well, just, just the rebellion in the '60s
Oh,
against what everything that this movie represents.
this was, yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing that created punk rock to begin with. This is the kind of thing that created, you know, um the 60s film
Burning
movement.
burning bras,
I
all
mean,
that stuff.
it does represent where the studio's head was at, and where America's head was at, or at least a certain bandwidth of people, because this is certainly not the hippest thing that was going on in 59,
No.
but they, as a business move, Hollywood style, good on them, because they had to fight to get a romantic comedy done at all.
Yeah.
I mean, in a way, this is a little bit like Judd Apatow coming out of nowhere in a time when there wasn't a lot of comedy, and kind of reinventing a little bit, and becoming a household concept, household name with these same players, because these three made 3 movies together.
Yep.
It was like the Lethal Weapon of romantic comedies.
Yeah. Riggs, I'm too old for
And
this shit.
where was Riggs when we need him?
But let's talk about, I mean, the elephant in the room in this movie is date rape. I mean, that sequence, if I showed this movie to my students today and they're like, wow, there is a whole long comedy section about how funny and lighthearted serious date rape sexual assault can be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
And it's shocking to think that back then people were watching that scene and thinking, "Oh, isn't this adorable? The college kid who's assaulting the woman in his car. And isn't she handling it like a good sport?"
right. Right. I mean, look, I want to respect Doris Day enough. I don't know a lot about her. I know that she was like apparently pretty, down to earth person, like a family person. I don't know if she was conservative or not. I really don't know anything about her. She can't be too conservative. She never would have done this movie, right?
No.
Ever.
And she talked Rock Hudson into doing it.
Yeah. And she wanted to kind of reinvent herself as kind of more modern, sexier person. And I think that was great. I think she was actually, she's really talented. I want I'd be so interested to hear what she had to say about shooting that scene, for instance, in the car. You're talking about in the car with
In the car
character
with
of Tony.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
With,
They
Nick
put it,
Adams.
they put it on really thick, even for then. I felt that was just beyond belief.
Yeah.
Because they didn't undercut it with anything. He was just an aggressive person, and a kind of like hostilely aggressive, scary guy. He wasn't like, there wasn't a joke here like, oh, he's like a little, guy you'd never expect to be too timid to ever kiss a girl, and he kisses a girl. Like, there wasn't even a joke in here. There was just simply, hey, it's fun. Let's have a funny scene where this happens.
No, basically it was hi, Brett Kavanaugh in college.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, this is our Supreme Court justice's behavior back in college.
No, I
And
mean, the whole movie is like that to me. The whole thing. I mean, it's like thing after thing happen where you're just like, the attitude with which it was done doesn't feel like people were pointing up things that they wanted to make fun of, but also were trying to make a point. It feels like they actually thought those things were funny.
yeah, I did not. I have to say, I did not. There were things that I laughed at in this movie.
Tony
N-
Randall.
None, none of them were things that I think they wanted me to laugh at. Well, one of the things that I laughed at a lot was an appearance. I don't know if you noticed this. There's an appearance by one of my very, very best friends, has a big role in this movie, as the obstetrician. Did you notice Joel Rooks in the role of the obstetrician?
No,
It's
but
actually an actor named Alex Jerry.
okay,
But when I looked at it, I was like, "Oh my God, that's Joel Rooks in
it did look
Pillow
like
Guy."
Joel. Yeah.
And he looked exactly the same 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
There's funny moments. There's funny performances. I mean, Marcel Dalio is
Marcel
always
Dalio.
funny.
Well, my God,
You
he's a
know, I
treasure.
mean, Tony Randall at that age is such an interesting thing to see. Like before he became an Odd Couple guy, and before all of that, I mean, he's such a brilliant actor.
And he's sort of discovering his shtick in this movie. It's
Yeah,
very understated, but really there. He has some very nice stuff in it.
yeah. I mean, Thelma Ritter is always
Sh
always incredible, and
she's a national treasure.
right. So like there are, and those people are kind of allowed to do good work, or like the script is in those moments it's clever enough, and there's some witty dialogue, and it's got some moments of, and I mean the first 20 minutes I thought, "Oh, okay, this is actually a little bit stylish and fun and silly, and I don't even particularly think there's a lot of reason to get into the politics of it too much, other than just to say like if this isn't something that people want to see today. Like it doesn't make you feel great. But
No.
just on a purely movie level, I thought we were in for a more entertaining thing, and then I was like, could the stakes be lower than they are? There's there's no reason to be paying attention to any of this at all.
No. And also, there's nothing about him that would make her want to marry him at the end, other than that he's Rock Hudson and attractive. And that's what was weird to me
Well,
about
what
it, is
what we do know about him is, and what she knows about him is, that he's a stone cold psychopath, and the worst thing about the movie is it seems to imply that no matter who you are, if you do these moves, a woman won't be able to resist it.
well, and also this idea that he is a monster through the whole movie, but then the only thing that he does that changes him is he says, "Oh, no, I do love you and want to get married. I'm gonna give up my old
Yeah,
ways."
it's
And that's like,
insane.
"Oh, great, then I'll marry you."
It's absolutely insane. It's completely insulting to any woman that would see it, and it's completely insane.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's insulting to everybody. It's insulting to guys as well, in the sense that there isn't one decent person in the whole thing. I mean, everybody's insane and misogynistic and crazy, and I mean, Tony Randall slaps her in the face. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, but the good part of that is that when they were shooting that scene in which he slaps her in the face, when the two guys punch him, when he gets punched in the face, they rehearsed it and rehearsed it and rehearsed it.
Hmm.
He rehearsed it with the actor, and then when they did the actual take, the actor messed up and knocked him out.
They actually knocked Tony Randall out.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
he was knocked unconscious shooting that scene.
I love that story. So happy about that. I mean, I had notes about things that I thought were funny for the first 20 minutes, and then I almost stopped because I was like, oh dear. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there are funny lines. There were very funny lines. I'm looking for one of them. Like Tony Randall saying about the car that's parked in front of the hotel that she rejected, saying like, oh, my analyst will never believe that. And the cop says, neither will mine. Like, there's some kind of funny
That was witty.
New York things about analysts and New York life, and that was kind of moderately entertaining.
Actually, my favorite line in the movie was, Mrs. Walters, a fertility goddess is the last thing you need in Scarsdale.
Written down. One of the only lines I like. This is great.
Yeah.
It's a great line.
Yeah.
There are some very funny moments like that.
Yes.
I don't know what to. I don't really know what to say. I mean, there's like a reason why this whole period in Hollywood is just considered to be like kind of awful.
Yeah.
We lost our way there for a while.
No, we haven't just started discussing racism yet, even though, because we could get into that a little bit.
I'd almost prefer not to, only because obviously it's there. Like, well, of course it's there. And that's the worst. I mean, oh God, where do you even begin?
Yeah.
It's sad that the most talented people in the movie are that singer and that band.
Yeah.
And yet it is the worst scene in a film I've ever watched.
Yeah. It's
very sad. I mean, it's the worst musical break ever.
And you can actually tell, in spite of the fact that they did nothing, absolutely nothing to showcase that woman's talent in any way that's effective.
No,
you can tell that she's insanely talented.
Of course she is. To get to that place, she'd have to be, the most perfect singer in the world.
When I was watching that scene, I couldn't help thinking, and I actually want to call Dad and ask him about this, like, because I could imagine the Terriers and that band rocking out together.
Yeah, I could see them on the same circuit.
Yeah,
I could totally see that happening. But
time, I mean,
guaranteed they're not going to be. They're not going to be singing "Ya Ya Roly Poly" though, because
no, they're not going to be.
That is the worst song in the movie. Even Frank Stallone wrote better songs. This is terrible.
Roly-poly.
What is happening? They do a patty cake number. Nobody dances.
Yeah.
There's no effort put into anything. There's a muted little sing along to Roly Poly Ya Ya, and they do patty cakes.
Tony, you just don't have a romantic bone in your body, do
Matthew, you've ruined my month. You did it. You did it. And it came early because this was I mean, what are you gonna? This is the only other thing that you could see after this is like American Psycho,
right? That would be the good pairing.
It would be pretty good.
I had different pairings, but I venture to say that Bridget Jones's Diary is going to be a step up from this, is my prediction.
No, I think it's going to be the same thing. I think it's going to be the same thing 2.0.
Really?
That's my guess.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting ready to feel some problems.
Some loathe?
I don't know.
He's feeling the loathe. Not feeling the love, but feeling the loathe.
I have notes, but I don't have the will to go on.
Well, here I've got great moments in this movie that I want to throw out there to get your reaction to them. I want to hear your thoughts on great moments in this movie.
Okay.
The walk through New York montage.
Notable, definitely fun for New Yorkers to see that.
Okay. The bathtub scene.
If it had been in a French movie, it would have been fantastic.
Okay.
And it is actually probably kind of brilliant. It's pretty brilliant. All the split screen stuff is pretty great. They don't make good on it. They don't do anything with it so it does kind of just sit there, but that was really nice.
Okay. We've already talked about the Roly Poly song. How about this choice? When they're heading off to Connecticut on their romantic weekend, when she still thinks he's somebody else, so he is going to bed her with a false identity, pretending to be somebody else. That's what a great guy our hero is.
Well, we also know he's a guy that has an automatic door lock button in his apartment.
Come on. Come on.
Well, we should stop there for a second just to talk about the fact that you know, that concept was handled as if, you know, a lot of guys have this. Like,
yeah,
it was so casually kind of.
Oh no, but that what you didn't understand is that door lock was so that nobody walked in by accident while they were
into his apartment.
Yeah, while they were
where he's the only person that lives there.
That's what that door lock
okay.
was. Yeah, it wasn't to keep the woman
in case Thelma Ritter got confused and thought she had to clean that apartment.
How could you think it was to lock the woman in?
I don't know what's wrong with me.
What's wrong? Yeah. But so they're in the car. On the way, he gets her into the car. They're going to Connecticut, and the choice of music,
it's disgusting.
Is, I'll be working on the railroad. Can you explain this to me?
Is that the music?
Yeah, they get into the car. They're off to Connecticut. They get into the car takes off. They're on their way to Connecticut, and the band starts going ba ba da ba da da.
That's right. It did do that, and that's disgusting. I don't.
So, oh yeah, I have to go have sex with another woman again. It was. I could not.
There is a really cool conversation in here, though, which I want to bring up something that apparently Hitchcock said that he wished that he had directed this movie. His daughter was interviewed, and in the interview they said, "Does your dad regret anything?" And she said, "Well, actually, he regrets not thinking to do Pillow Talk or getting offered it, or that he didn't do it, because, you know." And I gotta say, this is literally like a bad Hitchcock movie, like one of the not good ones or not great ones, which you could argue there aren't any, but you know, there are some that are not as great.
Well,
without where they just took out the horror reveal.
Right. So sort of like looking at this movie as if we could look at Marnie as a rom-com.
Exactly. Like if you think about it, he's impersonating somebody. She thinks he's another person, which is scary. Which is, if you played it even just remotely realistically, would be really scary. That's like a Julia Roberts thriller from the 90s.
Yeah.
My boyfriend's not who I think he is movie, you know? And in this, he takes her to a place pretending that it's his house. It's not, it's his friend's house. Takes her up there, impersonating somebody. And there's like, they're up there in the middle of nowhere, like miles from anyone. And she realizes who it is through he gives it away accidentally. He knows the lyrics to a song, I think.
Yeah.
Right. And she knows because she's heard it on the party line, which is something we should also talk about, that party line thing. But she realizes, oh my God, this is this guy I hated, who I never saw, but I you know, and this guy's been lying to me. That's a horror moment. It's a terrifying moment. They play it for kind of like, wah, wah. You're stuck in the middle of nowhere with a psychopath who's lied to you and has pretended, you know, like.
Yeah. And that's practically the music when she figures it out.
It is,
you know,
pretty
a little
much
harmonica ditty, and
yeah. So
isn't this funny?
But can't you see this
out in a winter storm in the cabin in the woods with a person who's impersonating somebody?
It's literally terrifying, and to have that moment played as like a I Dream of Jeannie moment, like a television silly TV show.
Well, thank God then that Tony Randall showed up when he did, because that's who I want to rescue me in an emergency.
Absolutely. He's the guy for the foxhole, right? He's the guy you want to call. But so interesting to think of it like that Hitchcock movie. And Hitchcock did a lot of the same misogynistic things, but in a way, because there was so much horror and paranoia in the movies, they almost they are really more comments on this weird drive that psychopaths have, or that Hitchcock is aware of this being not okay somehow. Like he's working out sexual issues in his movies maybe, or whatever, but these filmmakers don't seem to be aware of this as any kind of problem at all.
No.
And they've written a female character who doesn't seem to think that it's a problem either.
No. Who's willing to marry the guy afterwards.
Yeah.
But he did let her redecorate his apartment
It's a big
in
deal.
the way that she wanted.
It is a big deal.
That's, what more could you do for a woman?
I mean, it starts with like people being sexually accosted, and it ends with people being accosted. It's just people being accosted and abused throughout the entire movie. It's really, really not okay.
How about I guess the last thing I have, that the Dutch angles when he's on all his breakup phone calls.
It's like Dutch angle breakdown. Like it went crazy for both of them. They were both angled at different levels.
Yeah.
There's something really weird too, I want to say. Like there was one thing she did in it that made me really creeped out. Like I actually was like, oh, the both of you really actually deserve each other in a weird, horrible way.
Which was?
It's right after or before Roly Poly Yaya. I don't remember where before that musical break.
I'm sorry. Roly Poly Yaya.
It's a real song. They really recorded that.
I'm putting it on my playlist.
Yeah. And they have this little talk, and it's this self-flirtatious thing, and he's pretending to be a guy. He's pretending to be a rich oil Texan, like a Texas oil man.
Yeah.
Visiting New York. And he's all like, oh, ma'am, I don't want to be, I want to treat you very respectfully and everything. And so much so that she starts to wonder, like, well, does he actually like me? Like, he hasn't tried to kiss me once or anything. And
he hasn't tried to rape me.
And then he kisses her, and immediately she goes to she goes to the bathroom to fix her makeup. Like within 30 seconds.
Well, that's what I do after I get kissed.
Didn't you find that strange? No, honestly, that was a strange thing to do. Yes. Roly Poly Yaya.
Roly Poly Yaya is the name of the song, Mom.
I doubt you remember it from 59. It didn't make it onto the radio.
We'll play it for you. It's pretty astounding.
Yeah, it does. None of it works. And the patty cake dance doesn't work. I just want to say.
No. Who are we in the movie? Because I knew immediately who you and I were.
I didn't know immediately. I mean, I know definitively who I think we are. I kind of actually had you as the obstetrician.
Oh, really? Okay, thank you.
And I had me as the truck driver who punches Tony Randall.
Okay. Well, my note was that everything in this movie is completely outlandish and unrealistic, and that you and I are the two guys at the diner.
Okay.
I didn't specify which one of us was the one who punched him. We were just the two normal guys at the diner who think this is all a load of crap.
I'm totally down with that. I thought that I would, like I broke it down like, what's the only role that I'd get the audition for?
Yeah.
Would be the guy in the diner.
I think you'd be the one doing the punching because you have the tats. So
I have the tattoos and stuff. Yeah. And so we could totally be duos there, a duo.
Yeah.
But I thought I gave you more lines, and I gave you a little bit to play there,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. What how would you recast this movie if we were going to make it today?
Oh,
I
well,
have two versions.
do you? I have a few different ideas. Where did you go with it?
Well, I said if we were going to actually try and remake this movie as a rom-com, I would cast Ryan Reynolds and Kobe Smulders.
You
Who
can't. You did Ryan Reynolds last week.
I did?
You can't do it again.
I did
I
Ryan
have
Reynolds?
to.
I thought I did Ryan Gosling last week. Didn't I do
You
Ryan
did
Gosling?
somebody named Ryan. You can't do two Ryans in a row. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I did.
oh,
Was it Gosling? Okay, okay. Was Gosling? Then
all
I'll
right.
give you Ryan. Okay.
But then I said we could do a crazy version of it with Benicio del Toro and Tilda Swinton.
Oh, well, that actually could be a good movie, though. That
Yeah,
actually could work. They could really reinvent this.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Who else?
That was the two. Those were the
Okay.
two castings that I did.
Um,
And I play the Tony Randall role in every version of
yeah, that's in your contract.
it.
You can't do it anywhere.
Anywhere without
Oswego,
being
New
played.
York. You're doing it.
Yeah, I'm playing Tony.
Yeah. I have
You know who I worked with
I do know.
for a while.
Let's tell, give us the Tony Randall story.
Well, the best Tony Randall story I have is when we were standing off stage one evening while Jack Klugman was on stage doing the Doctor sketch in the Sunshine Boys, and we're standing there waiting for our entrance, and we're just waiting and waiting. And then Tony turns to me and he looks at me and he goes, "You really gave up the law for this?"
And he was serious. I'm sure he was.
Yeah, he was serious. And I looked at him and I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Why?" I said, "You hear that sound?" Because the audience was laughing like crazy at Jack and the nurse. He said, "Yeah." "Nobody laughed when you were practicing law?" And I said, "Well, maybe some judges at me."
Yeah. It's a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
A little bit more fun. You worked with him for a long time.
Yeah, about 9 months we worked together. Yeah.
Damn, he's funny. Oh my
He's
God.
very funny. And it was a lesson to be on stage with him.
Did he stop the scene to tell you what to do? Is that how it was a lesson? Like, you're doing it wrong.
This is the best.
Sorry,
thing.
audience, he's doing it wrong.
No, practically. He did stuff like that off stage with me.
Directed you. Yeah.
But the best thing I can tell you is that he did something. He did it the first preview down at the Coconut Grove Playhouse. And he and I, in the lineup at the end, he and I ended up holding hands, is the way the lineup was. I was next to him. And when we took the final company bow, as our heads hit bottom before coming back up, you bow, the head hits the bottom of the arc, and he screamed at the top of his lungs. He would go, "Bravo!" and the audience didn't know where it came from. And people would start shouting bravo, and they would all rise to their feet. And he did it every single night, and it worked every single time.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's show business.
Bravo!
That is show business.
Yeah. It's pretty brilliant.
I love it so much.
And I was just like, the balls on that guy. Oh my God.
That's really incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, where did he get his start? Where did Tony Randall get his start? I don't even really know. I mean, I'm sure he was New York theater.
I think he got his start in, when you see in old Westerns, when you see those guys traveling like in the 1880s through the West doing shows at bars for the local cowboy population. I think that's where he got his start, actually.
Because he was 97 when he made this movie.
Yeah.
In 59.
I think Tony was 97 when he was 28.
Yeah, I can't imagine him as a teenager. I really can't. I cast I couldn't decide, but I'm going to go with Adam Driver and Maggie Gyllenhaal. Because I don't want to see that movie either, but I don't want to see this, so I figure it's appropriate.
Oh my God.
and I'm going to cast Jason Mantzoukas as in the Tony Randall part.
I don't know who Jason Mantzoukas is.
You have to, you know who Jason Mantzoukas is. Come on. Jason Mantzoukas is great. He's been in everything. He's very funny.
Jason Sudeikis.
Well, that's not what I'm talking
that's
about.
Not
So
Jason
I'm happy for you. That's wonderful. That's not what I'm talking about. And then I would cast Wanda Sykes as Thelma in Thelma Ritter's role.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I would go with that. I think that's brilliant. What would your double feature be?
You know, I thought a lot about it. I'm either like gonna say I kind of want to do something weird. Like, all right, I thought American Psycho because I really was down on this movie and thought that American Psycho really is what it is. So it's actually a great combo. But I want to do something a little more interesting and pair it up with both Rear Window and Vertigo.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
There's a similar shooting style, but I also feel strongly that Thelma Ritter character in Rear Window is the same cleaning lady from this movie, and that she literally works at both apartments during the same time,
going back and forth.
So we actually make it a giant movie about Thelma Ritter with these two crazy apartments she has to work in.
And what would be fun to do is actually to do some CGI stuff so that James Stewart is watching some of the scenes from this movie through the windows.
And then we could actually have Rock Hudson be the psycho murderer that he really is.
Yeah.
He can be witnessed like through the binoculars. I think it would be a very interesting way to go.
I paired it with The Audition.
Oh, or just Audition?
No, the movie The Audition. Isn't it called The Audition?
There's a movie called Audition, which is a Japanese movie.
Yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
That's just Audition, but yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, because there's probably a movie called The Audition too.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, the one where the guy is looking for the new wife, and
that's a good one. I like that. That's a palate cleanser. That would really be a good palate cleanser.
Yeah. That'll cleanse the palate.
That will as well.
Yeah,
it will. You know, I tried to look up some stats and things about the people that made. You know, nobody went on to do anything particularly fantastic or notable or interesting. I mean, Doris Day's got a strange career.
Hayden Rourke, who plays the guy at the phone company.
Yeah,
he went on to play Dr. Bellows on I Dream of Jeannie.
Well,
that's pretty exciting.
Well, I mean, the actors did. Certainly, Tony Randall and Rock Hudson, they all went on to do things. Rock Hudson was in a movie called Avalanche from 1974. That's much more entertaining than this. I really urge you to see Avalanche.
And wasn't he in Seconds?
He's in Seconds, which is a stone cold classic, great movie, and he's great in that. I mean, he had moments where he was awesome, but he's an odd. He looks like he's always trying to be Cary Grant, and he is arguably the best looking guy like ever in movies. Like he's you know, he's drop dead handsome, 6'4", like chiseled, perfect looking. So I get why he was a star, but I also think he was kind of more interesting than maybe people gave him credit for. You're just nodding your head like I'm blithering on like a fool right now.
No, I feel like you're making a reasoned and valiant attempt to. I hated this movie.
I hated it too. This isn't points to the movie. I'm saying Rock Hudson's somebody who's been kind of forgotten as an actor in the conversation. Like nobody really talks about Rock Hudson, except for that fact that he was gay and was closeted very uncomfortably for a lot of his life. And it was a tough situation for him. You know, his work, nobody talks about the acting. And he made a lot of movies. He was a giant star.
Yeah, I got to watch him in some other stuff because I hated him in this, but I can't separate him from what I was watching.
Well, I think was really uncomfortable making this movie.
Okay, well,
I think he was probably very uncomfortable.
Then good on you, Rock.
Well, yeah, no, it's It's terrible. But
We haven't talked about the moose scene.
Do we have to?
No, we don't have to talk about the moose scene. We don't have to talk about the lyrics of the song in the car. My darling, possess me.
I think I figured out what this is. This is a movie where all the bad guys, all the worst people from like Animal House, from the bad fraternity, are the heroes of our journey in our movie, right?
Yeah.
And their behavior and their attitudes and the way that they do things and party is supposed to be like, that's that's America,
glorified.
Man.
Yep, glorified.
It was shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but boy, did they put some good Dutch angles in there. They really did. They put them in there.
You said there was something you said you wanted to talk about that you wanted to get to, and now I'm forgetting what it was.
Was it the napkin on the dinner table when they went to the cocktail party, the nightclub, and the napkin was so interestingly placed on the table? Wasn't that?
No. But I'd like to hear about that.
I don't want to talk about it. I thought that might have been what you were referencing. It was another one of those. Wait, what is that? Oh, it's a pointy napkin on the table. I thought it was I thought something else was going on.
You're in trouble when the moment that intrigued me the most and that I thought was the most interesting was early on in the movie when she's getting ready to leave her apartment and she takes Tabasco sauce and Worcestershire out and puts them on the counter. And I thought, that's interesting.
For Thelma.
Yeah, for Thelma.
Who has a hilarious drinking problem.
Yes.
An absolutely hysterical, debilitating disease that people
laugh at. Which
she
has because she doesn't have a man to take care of.
Oh, yes. They make that very clear.
Yeah. If she had a man to take care of, her life would be fulfilled.
Well, she wouldn't have time to drink. She'd have to take care of another person who was too drunk to get dressed.
Oh my God.
It's really rough, man. This was I honestly, I guess I thought I was a little thicker skinned than this. I thought I could laugh all this stuff off. There's some of it I just can't do it. Yeah, it's just not okay.
And I am not the most woke and politically correct person in the world. I try to be. And this movie just did nothing but offend me.
It was it's just all the villains from teenager movies. It's like all the bad people getting to star in a movie together.
Yeah.
They're just like, my God, they're all a bunch of like just mashers and creeps and liars and cheats and I guess if I thought that was the premise, like if the filmmakers had leaned into that and were making some kind of comment about the sexual mores of our time in some kind of knowing way, this could have been a really interesting black comedy, you know. But they weren't doing that.
No.
They just weren't.
Well, we made it through.
I apologize. I do apologize to anybody that had to see this because of us. I think we do owe a small apology. We don't know what we're getting into a lot of the time with these movies. We don't always know.
No, we don't know.
Or have seen them. I haven't seen them in a long time.
And this movie is so iconic. I thought it was going to be a lighthearted, fun romp and a look back at a happier time. I didn't know that happier time was happier because rape was okay as far as they were concerned. It was just nothing was acceptable about this.
Doesn't really work. I think it wasn't it was a big hit for sure, but it didn't. No one's talking about this movie. We're the only ones. Unfortunately, we are now the only ones promoting this movie because it was a dead issue.
Okay,
we were like, everybody else was like, thank God we got over Pillow Talk. We never have to talk about it again.
Yeah.
And here we come bringing it up again.
And I'm going to make it clear that we're not promoting it. We warn you
We're
away
just
from this
we're
one.
just advertising it for
We're
for them.
just advertising it. So well, I guess we just have next week to look forward to, or not, depending.
I'm having a harder time this month now. It's been, the trajectory has not been the direction
That you
that I
want
had
to go?
hoped.
Oh, see, this is how I kind of designed it.
Well, what I'm saying,
next week will be the coup de grace.
I think I will give up my whole will to survive at that point.
Okay, because next week is Bridget Jones's Diary with Renee Zellweger, Colin Firth, Anthony's favorite actor, Hugh Grant, and actually national treasure, not for our nation, but for Great Britain, Jim Broadbent.
Oh, he sure is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be a national treasure here too, as far as I'm concerned.
Because he's pretty spectacular. So we will get into that next week, and we'll see if Tony wants to kill me.
I don't want to hurt anybody. I just so badly want to go back to Hammer time.
Hammer time. Okay. Well, after the show tonight, actually, we do have to have a talk. We have to work on our lineup.
We do. We have a whole month or two to plan. So we gotta,
So please tell your friends, tell your friends about our show, tell your enemies about Pillow Talk.
Yeah.
And join us next week for Bridget Jones's Diary.
And again, we do apologize.
And we love you, Mom.
We love you, Mom.
Good night,
buddy.